Hello.
Hey, Steve. All right, good to go now. Sorry, I haven't done a phone interview in a long time, so I had the mic plugged into the wrong jack, so it was only picking up my voice, so...
Sorry, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, okay, we're all good now. So, all right. Now, let's see, where are we? Okay, so you're currently in Stereo Steve's and HM Chronicles. Will there be full-length CDs released this year?
I'm hoping sometime this year to release from both of them and a couple other little things I've been working on, but those are the two main focuses I got right now. The two main bands I play with anyway.
Very, very cool. Now, if I recall, Stereo Steve released an album called Songs from the Big Smoke LP already. Am I correct?
We haven't released it yet. We're just waiting right now. It's been mixed and it's getting mastered soon, and then it'll be out hopefully by summer.
Awesome. Now, Stereo Steve have 2 albums worth of material recorded also. Am I correct?
We're working on the last batch of the second part, yeah.
Right on. Well, definitely looking forward to that coming up.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Stevie's really, he's one of them guys I've been looking for my whole life to write with. We connect right away, and he's a really great guitar player. I don't know how many people out east know them as much. He was in a band called the Orphans, and he was in the other band, the Orphan, from Winnipeg. And what we're doing is nothing like it. It's more up-tempo rock, but yeah, he's got a pretty good history himself. He's quite a guitar player.
Awesome. Now, post-Rocket, you had roughly 17 tracks recorded, including Tin Man, Ultraviolet, which had a Bob Rock co-write, Priceless, Shame on Me. Now, do you have the masters to possibly release these tracks, or maybe re-record them or something?
I don't have the masters to it. I recorded that right after Rockhead, and there was a couple of songs that I did with Bob that we had written for the Rockhead album that didn't make it, and I ended up finishing them. But I ended up kind of abandoning it after a while because it just wasn't the right time. Everything had changed. Every time I shopped the stuff, people were asking me if I could rap because the whole Limp Bizkit and Kid Rock thing was starting to go, and it's just not my forte. Not that I don't like it. I'm a big fan of both bands.
So was Ultraviolet actually written for the Rockhead debut?
It was one of the songs that we were working on just near the end of it that never got finished. And I had some ideas for it in my head, and I'm sure Bob did too, but I was working with a bunch of other people, and I told them how I wanted to finish it, and involved a whole pile of my friends from Vancouver to play on it, and it turned out pretty good. I was pretty happy with the end of it. I just never got it mastered. And I don't own the masters, so.
Gotcha. Now, the Rockhead debut is chock full of guest stars. Any guest stars that wanted to be on the album but couldn't due to scheduling, commitments, other labels, etc.?
No, Bob, all of them kind of happened pretty organically. Lots of the time, like when Richie was doing Keep the Faith with Bob, he played on a track that he was involved in writing. And then we had Apache from Little Caesar play on some. Billy Duffy played on Hell's Back Door, which I think he had a co-write in. I'd never met Billy until I walked on stage at Wembley Arena with him. I was just like, "Hi, it's good to meet you. Oh, you're Billy Duffy. We wrote a song together."
Well, that's super awesome. Now, any truth that John Sykes and Metallica were also interested in appearing if time presented itself correctly?
I don't think so. I think Metallica was just so deep into their record when Bob was doing the Black Album. That was a fairly long project, and I'm sure they were aware that Bob was doing a recording too, because we were usually in the same cities and stuff, and sometimes even in the same studio when they were doing their stuff at Little Mountain. But they would never have played on the Rockhead album, and John Sykes I would have loved because I'm a huge fan. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he ever got asked to play on the Rockhead album.
Gotcha. Now, on a day off, Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee, of course, got to see you play in a cover band and told Bob Rock about you. Did this lead up to Bob Rock auditioning you for Rockhead?
Well, it was a few people that had told him to come and see me when I was playing in my cover band. I didn't do the cover band thing for very long, but I had a few people ask me if I wanted to do originals, and I started singing originals, so the cover band thing didn't appeal to me that much. Getting people to dance to AC/DC is like shooting fish in a barrel. It's fun, but it's really easy.
Now, how was the experience of auditioning for Rockhead at Bob Rock's studio in front of Bruce Allen, Randy Staub, and, of course, Bob Rock?
It was a little intimidating. It was one of them things where Bob's really got a good way of setting a singer or a musician for that matter. He's really good at putting you in the right peace of mind to do what you do and not worry. If you're the right guy, you're the right guy. If you're not, it is what it is. So he always made me feel really comfortable in the studio, whether it was, trying to get me to just sing like I sing, not try and copy anyone, just sing like Steve Jack, not like anyone else.
Now, when you auditioned for Rockhead, did Bob Rock remember you from being a roadie from the Payolas?
Neither Bob or Chris Taylor, the drummer, were both in the Payolas, and I did a bit of roadie work for a lot of Canadian bands back in the day. All the bands that were playing around in the 80s and stuff before I was a musician, or while I was a musician, had to pay the bills, so I was doing a lot of roadie work, and Payolas I did quite a few times, actually, and I was surprised they didn't remember me, but I was pretty quiet as a roadie.
Now, Motley Crue and Metallica expressed interest in having Rockhead on their tours. What made the band decide to take the Bon Jovi UK tour?
Well, that was a numbers thing. I preferred a crowd full of girls to a crowd full of boys. But they were both. I think a lot of people would have let us open for him just because of Bob. But Bob was actually recording while we were on the tour. He was recording in backstage studios and stuff all over Europe. He was doing some recording with Bon Jovi for some soundtrack that John was doing at the time. Wasn't the cowboy one. It was
not Blaze of Glory. Huh?
It wasn't Blaze of Glory. It was something else that maybe Romeo's Bleeding or something. He was doing a soundtrack for that, and having Bob on tour, they could get a whole pile of work done while we were on tour. So he keeps himself pretty busy.
Now, how was the experience of meeting David Lee Roth and Bruce Springsteen?
Springsteen was a trip because I wasn't a big Springsteen fan until I seen him, and then I got it right away. We got to meet them backstage in some place in Germany. He was playing the night after us, and we went out with John and Richie and got to hang out and watch the show. And he floored me. I was floored at how good Springsteen was. There's a reason they call him the boss. And who else were you talking about?
David Lee Roth.
David Lee Roth is David Lee Roth. I kind of really liked the album that Bob did with Sensible Shoes, and that whole record was a great album. A lot of times when I was working with Bob, I'd meet these people that were my freaking heroes, and I'd be speechless because it was like, oh my God, Diamond frickin' Dave. I don't know what to say. But he's a really straight up guy. Everyone that I work with Bob, or everyone I got to meet, was always really nice, whether it was because I was working with Bob or whatever. They're all really good people. The Bon Jovi guys treated us like gold on tour, but we got to hang out with them for almost a year when they were doing the Keep the Faith album.
Right on. Now, sadly, Rockhead broke up. Was there any writing done for possibly a second album, a follow-up basically to the Rockhead debut?
Well, we had a whole pile of stuff on the go, but I think Bob was, he's so musical that being stuck with one thing was probably a little too much for him, and the touring thing was probably, he's got a family, and he wasn't around family all the time, and I think that was that's Bob's main focus in life is his family, and the other stuff is I just don't think he was into it after touring for a bit. He wasn't it didn't feel right to him, and that's okay. I get it.
For sure. Now, do you still have your Everly Brothers acoustic guitar that Bob Rock gifted you?
He didn't gift it to me, but he lent it to me for a while when I first started playing, because I was just a singer when I was in Rockhead, and Bob was the guy that told me pick up a guitar and learn how to play, and he sent me home with it for maybe a couple of days, but I was living in New Westminster in a pretty shady area, and I didn't feel comfortable about having that guitar in my house, so I sent it back pretty quick.
Right on. Now, there were plenty of labels interested in signing Rockhead. Why did the band go with Capitol?
I think because of Bob's connection. Bob had, I think Capitol was the one that, we had really good meetings with Tim Tremblay, and I really liked the Capitol staff. They were really good to us in Rockhead. Internationally, not so much, because we couldn't even, when we were touring with Bon Jovi, you couldn't even buy our records in the store, which was kind of weird because it was the biggest tour of the year. And you'd walk into a record store and there'd be life-size Bon Jovi posters, but you couldn't buy Rockhead there.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of crazy, but I was surprised that you couldn't even buy the records in the stores at that point in time, because with everything that was going on around us, I figured they'd be there, but. And we did really well on that tour. We were, getting encores, and the crowd seemed to really like us on that tour. I had a blast playing with Bon Jovi because they were just so nice to us. They treated everyone in the band really well. We had our little rituals before shows. It was kind of fun, and it was a good time.
Awesome. Now, 1992 was a pretty challenging time for hard rock bands to release an album, especially a newer band. If the Rockhead CD was released maybe a couple years before, do you think it might have had some greater commercial success?
Well, yeah. We came out the same year as Nevermind, I believe.
Yeah, same week, I think, too.
Yeah, and like Bob said, the world changed, and, thank God. But it would probably have done better a couple of years earlier, but I still like the record. I still play a couple of songs every once in a while, and it was a good record. It was rushed a little bit because of what Bob had going on. I think we probably could have done. I think our second album would have been way better because we got to know each other musically, and then of course Bob went back to production, which he should be doing, I think.
Oh, for sure. Now, tracks you still play live. Till Death Do Us Part, War Child, any other ones?
Well, I don't really play them live that much. I used to play Death Do Us Part a lot, but I kind of jam them every once in a while, but I'm not that kind of a guitar player. I'm more of just a songwriter guitar player, and I count on my hired guns. And there's I still like listen to it every once in a while, but I don't like living in the past a lot. I like to, especially now, I'm so busy writing all the time because of what's happening. There's not much else to do. You can't play live, so you may as well create as much as you can while you're around.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, there were talk of Rockhead to do some Canadian shows with Extreme. Why didn't this wind up happening?
I didn't know that we were doing any Canadian shows with Extreme. I don't know we ever got asked. I know we played a couple of gigs with Def Leppard, some festivals with Def Leppard when we got back off the Bon Jovi tour. Mm-hmm. And that was a blast too because there's some really fun bands on that. Ugly Kid Joe and Svengali and can't remember, Tom Cochrane I believe was there. But we didn't really do a lot of Canadian dates. We did some around Vancouver when we were recording the record, and then we did a small tour in the UK just before the record came out, or maybe right after the record came out, and then right after that, Bob was doing the Keep the Faith album, and that's when the record came out, and they asked us if we wanted to go out with them, and by then we were all hanging out around Vancouver for a year, so it seemed natural for us all to go out and have some fun.
For sure. Now, why didn't you like the Bed of Roses video, and how would you have liked it to come out?
I don't know. It was just weird. Video was always a kind of a weird thing for me. We had, I can't remember, the guy that shot it also did he did a grunge thing before us. I think an Alice in Chains video, the guy that shot the video. And I just thought it was a weird concept because they had this punk rock angel guy that was prettier than everyone in the band walking around, and I don't know. I never really dug the whole video thing. It's kind of weird. I'm not much of an actor.
Now, do you have a recording of Rockhead and Choir Boys covering Slade's "Merry Christmas, Everyone"?
I have a cassette of it somewhere.
Wow.
That we did. They played with us. We did a jam thing at the Club Soda in Vancouver, and I'd heard the song, but I didn't really know it, so it was kind of messed up. But Spike did most of the singing, and it was a whole pile of the guys from Bon Jovi and Rockhead at the same time, or not Bon Jovi, the Choir Boys and Rockhead, and I believe we recorded it mobile. We did a live recording of Rockhead at the Club Soda with the full system, like a little mobile system, but I don't know whatever happened to that.
Interesting.
And it was different members. I think that was when John Webster was still in the band too. Before we toured with a 6-piece, but John Webster was a keyboard player that played on all the Rockhead album, and he was a monster. I love John Webster. He's such a good player.
Awesome. Now, as both being Motorhead fans, how was it meeting Lemmy and doing Jack Daniels with them in L.A. at the Rainbow Bar and Grill?
That was kind of a trip. We were just hanging out, and I thought it was really, it's the typical, you go to the Rainbow and you see Lemmy there, and he's always hanging out there, and there's a couple other people. I think Ron Jeremy was there, too. So it was kind of bizarre sitting down having a drink, and very nice gentleman. He seemed to be nice to everybody around him. I didn't really get to know him or anything. It was just a hi, you're Lemmy from Motorhead. Wow, cool. But I've heard he does that all the time. Like people are always walking up to him when he was at the Whiskey. He'd always have a good word to say to people. He's a really nice guy.
Awesome. Now, regarding the track Sleepwalk, a fax was sent to Paisley Park to ask permission to use the first verse of Prince's Sign of the Times in Sleepwalk. Do you still have the fax response?
I didn't get it. That was Bob that sent it. I think he just wanted to make sure it was okay that we used it, because we just used the first verse of Sign of the Times, I believe, in Sleepwalk, and I believe we had to, I don't know if it was a record company or Bob. I think it might have been Bob that sent the fax, and he got a fax back saying, yeah, feel free. Because I believe at some point in time Bob was asked to do some engineering for Prince, and he had to turn him down because he was too busy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, do you still have the awesome striped outfit you wore at Wembley Arena on Rockhead's 1993 tour, or your Captain Canada outfit?
Don't have the Captain Canada or the striped outfit
Darn
anymore.
It.
Neither one of them would fit, and I wish I had the Captain Canada still.
Now, Love Hunter was in the process of writing original material. Did any demos get recorded?
We never demoed anything from Love Hunter. We got together and we wrote a little bit, but we weren't really. I still write songs with Johnny Cat from Love Hunter. There's a few of the songs that I got right now that I co-wrote with Johnny Cat.
Nice.
We still keep in touch. He's still a guy I love writing with. He's a really good songwriter, and we still keep in touch. But we never demoed anything from Love Hunter. The only other recording I did was with a band called Probe from Vancouver, which was a bunch of young kids when I first got to Vancouver. Were recording an EP called We Come in Peace, which had a pretty kick-ass version of The Devil Went Down to Georgia on it, and that was my first time in the studio recording, but it was a great experience, and they were for their age, they were like 16 and 17 when I joined the band, and I was like, who are these kids? And that was my first recording with them. But other than that, I didn't. Before Rockhead, I didn't really release a lot of stuff.
Gotcha. Now, cover-wise, Love Hunter played some incredible covers, including Heaven's Trail by Tesla, Hearts in Time by Aerosmith, Swing or Swing by Van Halen, Johnny Crash, Faster Pussycat's Bathroom Mall, among many others. Were any shows recorded, or audio versions, or anything of these covers?
Never really did any of that back then. I'm sure there's probably some board tapes that some of our sound guys did, but we had a blast. Love Hunter was a really fun band. We weren't playing what a lot of the other cover bands were playing. We were playing the stuff we liked hearing. When some of the albums back then were coming out, I was a huge fan of Johnny Crash. I was a huge fan of Faster Pussycat. I thought Wake Me When It's Over was freaking awesome. I think we played a couple off that album too. I think we played Poison Ivy and what else did we play off that record? Where There's a Width, There's a Way.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved some of the songs we used to play in that band. The Tesla stuff was always a blast to play too.
Definitely. Now, how close were you to getting the Metal Church gig?
Well, I got an audition. They came up and met with me in Vancouver. My buddy Mike, who was, I believe, doing sound for them for a while, tried to hook us up together, and they came up to Vancouver, and we chatted for a while, and I think they played me a couple of tracks that they were working on, and it just wasn't me. I wasn't that heavy of I wasn't into the big heavy metal scene. I was more of a rock guy.
For sure. Now on to the band Probe that we were just chatting about. Probe had a very different sound than anything you have ever done, in my opinion, anyways. I hear a mixture of Queensryche, Crimson Glory, and Lizzie Borden. Who are Probe's influences?
Well, actually, they were more influenced by, like, Zeppelin, and I know Greg had a lot of Randy Rhoads sort of vibe to him. That was pretty much mostly written when I got there. And they were recording the 4 songs, and they just were looking for a singer, and so I was playing at a different cover. I can't even remember what cover band I was in at the time, and I got asked to sing on an album, and I went, yeah, I'd rather create than recreate.
Makes sense. Now, Probes We Come in Peace. There's a lot of themes of aliens and evil throughout the album. Would you consider it a concept album?
I guess so. Like I said, I didn't do a lot of the writing for the record. That was mostly Greg and the band before I joined. They had a lot of the songs done. I mean, they had by the time we'd finished the record, they probably had about 15 or 20 songs ready to go, but we never recorded any of them because I got asked to work in a different band by then, so I wasn't around after that.
Supposedly on that topic, there were around 80 songs and over 3 hours of live material by Probe. Would this ever see the light of day?
I don't know. I don't think they would have it, and I know I don't.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Steve. That was a very, very fun interview to do. I really enjoyed myself.
It's great talking to you again, buddy.
Always.
Anytime.
You too. Now, can I get you to do a station ID for me?
Sure can.
Okay. If you maybe get a pen and a paper if you're when you're set.
I've got it.
Okay. So you're going to say your name.
Yep.
And you're listening to CILU
102.7 radio.
You got it. Lipstick and Leather with Ryan Trush.
Okay. Hi, this is Steve Jack from Rockhead, and you are listening to CILU 102.7 radio, Lipstick and Leather with Ryan Trush.
Very cool, very cool. I'm going to air the interview on Friday on my radio show, and then I'm going to throw it up on YouTube a couple days after that.
Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Great to talk to you anytime.
Yes, that was a lot of fun, Steve. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your whatever day it is, Saturday.
Cool, buddy.
Okay, take care. Bye.